Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Artastic at the Grand Rapids Area Library. I'm very excited about today's project, and I think you will be too. Today we're going to do some sewing. We have an example here, and you're going to be making a little wall hanging. You should have your kit. Kind of small this time because we have just a little banner that we're going to be making. So you'll get this piece of burlap, and it's already cut into a really cool shape. And then my favorite part of the kit, yarn. Beautiful, beautiful colors of yarn. I just love them. So you want to lay those out. That's the yarn you'll be using. You'll have plenty of yarn to complete your project. And then you should have a needle. They're plastic needles, so you won't get hurt, you won't get any pokes. And they should be easy enough for you to thread, okay? So everybody get set up here, and then I will show you how we start. All right, I have my materials here ready to begin. I did forget to show you this. You have a bead in your packet also. So you have the burlap, you have the yarn, you have the needle, and then you have a wonderful bead. They're all different colors. They're really pretty colors. Some of you may choose not to use the bead, and that's totally fine. You can save it for another project. The other thing that I wanted to mention before we start, this is burlap, and if you really like this project, you can buy burlap at Walmart, for example. Just buy sheets of it, and then you can do additional projects if you would like to do that. Beautiful colors yarn. You will need to have a grown-up help you with some of the steps. You'll definitely be able to do the sewing yourself. Some of you will be able to thread your needle. It has a big eye hole right there like that. And then you're just going to push your yarn in there. Sometimes it starts to unravel, so I kind of roll it a little bit at the end, and I push it through the eye of the needle like this, okay? Then what I do is, at the very end, if you don't tie the end, when you sew, the yarn will come all the way through. You can take a look at the back. Do you see how it's, I tied it off? That's not going to come through to my other piece. If you have a lot of little pieces hanging, you could cut them once you're all done, but I'm gonna leave mine because they don't bother my design at all. You see, you can't even see them, except for that one, but otherwise you can't. So you have a few options of how you want to start. I actually drew the circle first. I just drew it with a marker. I traced the inside of a roll of masking tape. I just wanted to have some direction so I could have a circle. You don't have to do a design like I did. This is totally your design. You do what you want to do. I love these straight lines. I think that's kind of fun. And you could do going back and forth. If you are going to draw a shape on here, keep it very simple and sort of big. You just want an outline. You're not going to be able to get little tiny details. I just simply drew one outline. That's all I drew before I started. And again, you don't have to draw anything. The rest of the piece, I didn't know what colors I was going to use here, for example. I thought, I'll start with purple, and then I moved to the yellow and so on. I didn't pre-plan this project. Then I decided this needed something. I have more yarn that I might do like a zigzag here. So you what I'm saying is you can plan as you go, but you should have some kind of a place to start. Okay, I'm gonna start with yellow, and then the end, your grown-up will know how to do this. I'm just going to tie a knot in and pull it down. Now, you can see the knot's pretty small, so I actually found out it's best if I do a second one that meets that knot, and then I'll just pull it down so it meets, because that will keep it from not going through. I had tied one knot and it came through. All right, so your yarn or your burlap has these little squares all over it. They have squares going horizontally. They have squares going vertically. You can work diagonally. They're your guide. These holes are your guide. And so that makes everything kind of easy. I'm gonna just start with a simple, I'm gonna start down here and I'm just gonna make a simple yellow line going up. I think that's what I'll start with. So I start from the back and I find one of those squares. Do you see where my needle's coming up? And everything else is just kind of laying out here. Now the other thing that you should be aware of, whoops, when you're pulling through, you could tie this here. You could tie the needle here too, or the yarn up here on the needle. I just keep my hand on it like this, and then that yarn's not gonna go through. The other thing is, if you do lose your yarn through the needle's really easy to thread. So, do you see how I came up through the bottom and I came up? And then I look at my little squares. You could go right to the next one. You could go to 2 of them. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 squares and I'm gonna push down. You might have to push it down a little bit when you get to the needle head, and that's fine. And then I pull it through. Do you see how that worked? And my yellow is there. Now I come up again. I'm on the back side, so I have to come up. Back side, come up. And then I'm gonna just come the very next one, and I'm coming up. Do you see that? I pull up, and there I am. Now I'm gonna go down. So I'm gonna stay with the same 1, 2, 3 squares. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm gonna go down. I'm going down because I'm coming from the top. Little pull, and I'm getting a line going. Now I notice that they're not the same length. I actually went 4 squares here, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm going to come up because I'm down. I'm coming up because I'm down. And I pull through, and then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to push down because I'm up right now. Push down, that was a little bit of a push, and I pull it through again. Okay, do you see how I angled off a little bit? I'm gonna do that again. I'm not gonna go totally straight. I'm gonna angle off a little bit, maybe angle again. The other thing is, okay, let me see. I can't remember what I was gonna say. So we'll just keep going till I think of it. Okay, I had another little tip for you and I'm not sure what it was. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. I'm going diagonally this time. I'm gonna try to curve it, I decided. That's what I'm gonna do. I was gonna go straight, I changed my mind. So to curve it, I'll go diagonally off there, 1, 2, 3. And because I'm down, I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna come up just 1, not 3. And now I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and you see how I'm going diagonally? And I'm pushing it down. Okay? And I'm just gonna keep going. Make a little curve. And then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. I wanna finish this yellow one so I can show you how to tie it off. See, it doesn't have to be straight. It's gonna curve right off the edge there, right off the edge. And I'm coming up because I'm down. Right there seems like a good place. And then I'm gonna kind of straighten it out a little bit. Okay, so now you can see my needle, the yarn almost went through. So I'll catch it up again. And let's see here. Okay. You just watch me finish this one, and then we'll talk about getting you going with your yarn. Again, it's toward the end that yarn wants to come out of there. It's running out of room, but it's perfect. I like this. I like this idea. And I had started thinking I was gonna go straight, but then I wanted to turn it, so I did. And that's what you get to do. Now I'm gonna come out here. So I've ended here. I can't go anywhere else. I could turn and go again with the yellow, but I don't have a lot of yarn left. So I'm going to turn it over. This is the back side. And this is where a grown-up might wanna help you. I'll take my needle out, lay it to the side, and I'm going to tie a knot. So it might be hard to see, my fingers might get in the way, but I'm just gonna come through here. Do you see how I looped that? And then I'm going to hold my finger so it pulls it tight. And I have a knot down there, okay? You can see that I have extra yarn right here. What I'm going to do is cut that extra yarn, but I'm not gonna cut it so close to the knot. You can do a second one if you want, so I'll do a second one, but you don't have to. It really doesn't come through here. Okay, and then if you have a lot of extra yarn like I do, I will just cut that off so it won't get tangled with the other, okay? Then I put that to the side. I might use that later. So now I have this. What I wanna do next, what do I wanna do next? I feel like I like this line, so I think I'm gonna come this way and do another one in a different color. What I want you to do, I'll work along with you, and then we'll come back together in a few minutes, but what I want you to do is pick a color, decide where you wanna start, what color you want to use. If you want to draw something very simple at first. Initially, when I did this, I thought I can make petals coming off, but then I changed my mind because I didn't feel like I had enough room. Maybe I would have made a smaller circle and I could have made petals. I like this, so I'm happy that I made that decision. I'll show you again how to thread your needle. Here's your needle. I hold it tightly with my forefinger and my thumb, and then I'm gonna go right in the middle there. And I pull it, and there we have it, okay? Then I'm gonna take the end, and I'm going to make a knot, and that I will pull tight. You may remember that I suggested making a double knot, pull it down again, because it does come through sometimes with a single knot. Some of these squares on your burlap are bigger than others. Okay, so now this is ready. This is ready to go. If you have trouble hanging on to this part while you're sewing, mom or dad could tie it. And to tie it, all you would do is just do one tie. Whoops. I'm trying not to use a lot of yarn up on the tie, so there you go. Okay, and that may help you. And then I would move that knot to the top so it would not be hard to pull through. We'll start, I'll show you again how to start. I'm gonna turn my piece this way now. And so you certainly can turn yours how you wanna work. I'm down below, so I'm coming up. So I come up under my piece and I pull until my knot meets, my knot met. Then I'm going to, how did I do that? It's not gonna be the same, and that's okay. And then I'm gonna go down. I'm down below, so I come up. Oh, I know I have to go this way now. I realize I should have gone like that. I have to go this way. So now my semicircle is gonna go this way, which is totally great. And then I go down, pull it through. I'm down below now, so I have to come up, pull it through, and then I'm going to go down, pull it through. Okay, if you need to look at that step again, you can kind of just rewind it so you can see how you're doing, okay? How we're doing it. Now you can see my knot's coming a little undone, and that's okay, I'll just pull it tight again. I didn't double knot it, because then I have to cut it off and it's a little harder. And then I pull it through. All right, you make some decisions and have a blast, and we'll come back and I will show you how we can add the bead. The other thing is, if you want to fill an area in, like I did this circle, you're just gonna, your second piece will just go right around there. Maybe I should do that now to show you. I'll do that now. I will just continue this. I'll try to hurry and get this done, and then I'll show you how I went around. This is so relaxing. I did it last night. I was sitting on the couch and the dogs were sitting on the floor, and it was just so relaxing. The other thing about this project that I really like is you can put it to the side. So last night I did part of that, and then I left my work on the table, and then this morning I finished it off. So it's a project if you have to go to eat your dinner or you want to go outside and play for a little bit, you can just put it to the side. And that's kind of fun to have projects like that. Now this is not the same shape as the yellow one, but I kind of like it. I think it's great. It's just a smaller semicircle. And again, whoa. Now you know what happened. That's what I was gonna tell you. Now I remember because I actually did it. Okay, so I go through, right? And then I'm gonna come back up. But you know what I did? I accidentally came up the same hole I went down, and so then it undoes it. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. Then it undoes it. Now I go through, and you might make that mistake, especially if you're trying to get right close there, and that's what I like to do. And then we'll just about finished this off now. Whoops, I want to come through there. It's easy to change your mind and undo what you did also. Okay? Now, it'll be good to show this again. Pull my needle out. Okay, I'm gonna line this up and I'm gonna make a circle, sort of a circle shape, and then pull the yarn through, kind of hold my fingers so that knot gets right there. It looks fine, it's not gonna come through, but if you're worried, you can make a second knot and pull that through so it meets your first knot. And again, your grown-up can help you. Mom, dad, grandma, babysitter. Okay, so now I said I was gonna show you how you make the lines close like that. It's really very simple. I think I'll use this green. I love this green. Again, pushing this through. And there we go. Tying it. See my fingers? I know it's hard to see on video how you do this, but I'm pretty sure your grown-up will know how to do this. And this one, again, it's important to do it twice because one knot just doesn't seem to do it on some of the holes, and you move it down next to that one. Okay, so let's say I want to follow this edge. So I see where you always start from the back because these knots you want on the back. So always start coming up from the back. Always start coming up from the back. So I want it to be close, so I'm gonna go right next to that orange, pull through, come down, pull through. See how cool that looks when it's, you could just really have fun going right next to it. Pull it up. Go down. Do you see how nice that looks? I really like the yarns right together like that. I think that gives a very nice look. And I didn't have to draw a line. This kind of reminds me of the rainbows we did a while back, doesn't it? I like arch semicircles. I think they make a nice look. Okay, I'm down below, I come up. Sometimes just saying it helps. Up above, go down. Down below, ooh, come up. Up above, go down. Down below, come up. Where can we come up? Sometimes the holes are, the squares are little tight, so you just have to monkey around till you get it. See how beautiful that looks? Okay, so what I want you to do is just start, and then we'll come back together here in another minute, okay? Down below, come up, right? All right. All right, hopefully you're having fun. I'm coming back now because I'm gonna show you how to add your bead. You may not be ready to add your bead, and that's okay. But I just want you to know how to add your bead. Again, if you don't want to add a bead, that's fine. They look great without a bead, but I will show you how you can add it. This one right here, I just added it by sewing it on. So I'll show you that first, and then I'll show you another technique that I think is fun. Okay, so I have my needle already threaded, and I have it knotted at the bottom twice, the same thing. If I want to put my bead, say, right here, I would start always from the bottom and coming up. always from the bottom coming up. Then what I'm going to do is thread my needle into the bead, pull it through, and it's right there. Now you can see it's pretty loose, so I'm going to have to make sure I get it so it's going to be tight. So I'm going to pick this up and hold my bead down there, and I think right here is going to be good to pull it through. Okay, so I'll see if I can hold it up for you. I pulled it through and it came through there. Now I have to secure it a little bit more because it's a little wobbly, so I'm gonna flip it over. Want to make sure I come up the right place, and I'm going to come right through here. I came up right next to where I had gone first. I'll go through my bead again, and then right next to where I went through before, and now my bead is really secure, okay? I do need to tie it off. So I flip it over, I go under here with my needle, and you see all that little loop? I'm gonna go in here, pull it tight, and do it one more time. Make a circle, pull the end through. And now I have the bead secured right there. I think it looks great. I'll show you another technique that you could do. I'm gonna take this bead off. I'll be right back. So another technique that I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch, and then in the middle of my stitch, I'm going to put the bead, okay? Does that make sense? So you'll just see. What color should I use? I think I'll use this green. Again, thread the needle. Pull it through. Make a knot, pull it tight, a second knot, a second knot, pull it tight, and there I'm all set. So I'm going to come across here. Remember, I'm starting from down below, coming up. Down below, coming up. Then I'm going to be starting at the top, pulling down. Down below, coming up. And I'm going to be working my bead right into here in just a second. And then I'm going to go down again. The longer you do this sewing, the easier it becomes. Okay, I think it's ready for the bead. So now I'm going to come up from down below. I want to come right there, and I'm going to jump in, grab my bead, and that's how my bead will lie. That's good. So it gets a little tricky because the bead wants to roll around. You just have to decide where you need to go in. And there's where I went in. Come down, up. Now I have some yarn left and I'm not ready to get rid of it, so I'm going to come back. pull it through. I'm down below, so I'm gonna come up. Just kind of holding the bead so it doesn't roll around terribly much. And it will be nice and secure when I'm done here. Down below, coming up. Down below, coming up, up above, going down below. I still have yarn left, so I might go another round back again, fill some of that space in. But I think I'm gonna shortcut over here, go on the bottom. And that's what you can do. You can go any which way. It's so fun. Down below, coming up. Oh dear, look what happened. I got disconnected. So again, I just rethreaded. It's not a big deal. It's so easy to rethread. I came up the same hole again. Remember I told you that happens? It happened to me again. And then you just redo it. And this will really secure this bead. And it happened again. So I'm going to rewind it, or rethread it rather. And then I think I'll be done with this piece of yarn. The one thing when you do end, you don't need to leave this much, but you want to make sure you leave enough that you can double knot it or knot it down there. Because sometimes if you don't have enough yarn, it gets hard. And if that does happen, like you realize you didn't leave enough yarn to get a nice knot, you could just take a little piece of tape and tape it down on the back. That works too. Okay. Coming around and pulling tight. Cutting that little remainder off. That's my back. And there's my front, and that one is secured. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill in this space with some of these additional colors. And you can work on yours too. Then I'll do some more designs down here. I have a lot of yarn left. Look at that. And that's all I used. When you're done, at the top, there is a little space that you could take a stick if you wanted to and put it like this. This is kind of a long stick, but is that gonna do it? I'm gonna have to tie that a little bit closer. I'm just gonna tie it like this and like this. This is just I have these wooden sticks for kebabs, and that's where I got this one. It's pretty pokey there, so if you use that kind of stick, you might wanna cut that off. And then it could hang like this, okay? Another good way, and it's actually a way I prefer. Let me see if I can get this out. Yep, I got that out. Another way I prefer is a stick from the woods. I really like a stick from the woods. Now, I was trying to push it through. There's not enough space for this stick. Maybe you could find one that doesn't have these little bumps where the branches came off of. But I had trouble. So what I thought I would do is I would just take and glue my stick like this to the back. And again, this is the kind of stick I really, really prefer. Or if you get a really pretty stick, glue it to the front. And then you'll take, no, I'm not gluing it right now, so this might be a little tricky, but all you'll do is just tie your yarn, and then you have a hanger for it. Well, I guess I can just pick up the stick and do it, can't I? And again, you don't have to do this. You might, you know, when your project's finished, you might have another plan for it where you want to put it if you know, tack it on the wall or whatever. But this is kind of fun, and I would just go like that. That's what I would use, is that. Stick, you might, again, you're going to look for a really skinny one. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us for Artastic Day at the Grand Rapids Area Library. I hope you had a great time. I had a blast. I did not finish mine, so I'm going to be working on mine at home tonight, and you may be doing the same thing. Again, it's a project you can put aside and pick up. For the month of September, there will be a break. We won't have Artastic, but we will be back with an October project. So I'll have to think of something good. Have a great start to school. Those of you going to school this year, have a really good, healthy start.